Now, a lot of people are probably going to ask, who is the new Captain America? Well, I'll give you one hint. Look at that shield. It's upside down. That's a pentagram. It's Mephisto, just like it was last. Oh, wait. Welcome to The Watcher. I am your cult leader, Tom Pod, and I just watched the debut episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I really like this. I've been pretty vocal about how The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is probably the show and project in general, actually, I'm really the least anticipated for from Disney. It just kind of looked like we knew what we were getting with this one, certainly from the trailers. It just looked like a big action punch-up, you know, a big old action movie fest, and that's fine. But we kind of wanted some character moments. But thankfully, even though there was those big action moments, they found plenty of time for the characters in this show and this episode that really made it work. So at least for now, this is better than I kind of expected it to be, and hopefully it can keep that up, because this first episode I thought was really, really good. So with that said, let's dive into what this episode actually involved, and I suppose dive in is appropriate because we also see Sam Wilson, Falcon, diving in to a dogfight where he's meant to kind of apprehend this target for the US Air Force. Now, he's doing this kind of under the radar, off the books sort of thing. Although I would say this, the guy is just not good at stealth. Because straight away, he lands on a plane with the target inside and just tries peeking in the pilot window. Like, let me look in the one window they definitely have to be looking out. Come on, Sam, you dumbass. It was a great action scene. I want to talk about that first. With something like WandaVision, there was times where it was like, we heard these were really high budget, and it doesn't really feel like it's all there. Now, that suited WandaVision, obviously, but here, the budget is there. It's all on screen. This looked and felt like a movie. This felt like something from the Marvel movies. Like, I was watching it projected on the wall, pretty big, and I was like, this is movie quality. This is amazing. So that was really enjoyable. And the action, I think what was really good about it wasn't just like dog fights. As first of all, that I'm just going to say this, I don't know, is this a nitpick? A lot of time dog fights in movies, I just don't find them exciting. It's just like half the time it's like who's where, what's going on. It just doesn't always look good. Well, they did a great job here, kind of just laying it out very well, so it was very clear and very exciting and intense. And what was good about it as well is that they managed to find a variety. It wasn't just Sam is flying and shoot, because I just find that kind of boring at times. We get moments of him doing hand-to-hand combat, and that was important because I think they really need to establish the Falcon's sort of moveset and what differentiates him from the other characters, especially, say, a Captain America. And they did that. It was actually interesting. That scene actually reminded me quite a lot of the train scene in the first Captain America, and particularly kind of some of the moves Bucky pulls, I think, at one point. So I don't know, maybe I'm seeing connections that aren't there, or maybe they're trying to draw the comparison in your head that maybe these characters aren't as different as they think. So this air fight, which I should say, as much as Sam does a great job, like well done, Anthony Mackie, well done, Falcon, you did a great job. Red Wing is the real hero. Like this drone Red Wing thing he has on his back takes out 2 helicopters with ease. Just send him in instead of Sam. Do that. It'll be a lot easier, a lot stealthier as well. But we also should mention we have the return of a MCU villain here. I was going to say a movie series villain, but I guess it doesn't matter because they're all from the movie series now. Batroc the Leaper, played by George St. Pierre. GSP is back as Batroc the Leaper, who, again, one of the things I mentioned before is that I really like how in these TV series they can bring back minor characters here, and it worked really well here. I mean, he was like the most dastardly pantomime villain ever. I can't remember that line of dialogue, but it was so kind of cheesy and over top. I was like, that's pretty awesome. And if it wasn't cheesy enough for you, like I was thinking that we might have like, you know, death here. I thought GSP might be RIP, but no, he survived. And it reminded me of the A-Team, where it's like it's about to explode and he jumps away just so he can survive at the very last moment. Whereas in real life, like he'd be toast, but you know, he survived, and maybe we'll see him again, and hopefully we will. So yeah, that big action set piece. Great way to start the show. Really worked for me. It's the biggest action moment in the whole show. And that kind of feels like it was a very conscious decision to be like, hey, this is what the show is going to offer. Now we're going to slow it down. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to get character moments, and eventually it will pay off in big action. Just stick with it. I think if they had done something like that in WandaVision, some people wouldn't have gone like, oh, this is so slow at the start. So regardless, that was really, really good in my opinion. I thought it was fantastic. So where we pick up from that, I should mention that during this whole dogfight, there's a man on the ground called Torres who seems like he's going to be quite pivotal to the show, and seemingly a friend of Sam Wilson. As we mentioned, we're picking up basically where the MCU left off, and where we left off with Falcon was that he'd come back from the blip and he had been offered the shield by Captain America. And of course, when we saw that, it was thinking like, oh, this could be smooth sailing. This could be like, he's going to be the new Captain America, no problem. Of course, this show, the whole point of that is maybe it's not that easy. It's kind of him kind of earning the shield. And we have a fantastic scene where they're basically in a museum with a memorial to Steve Rogers as Captain America. And it just did a great job. I really loved this scene because it was sort of talking about why he's unworthy. And it kind of felt like a real insight into that character. And also, to be honest, the way he spoke made it feel like he was more Captain America than he realized, and basically perfect to be a Captain America. So what I will say is there was a few conversations before this where they mentioned the Flag Smashers. These are kind of, I guess, our main bad guy, although Zemo is linked to them, so they're kind of like possibly just henchmen for him. But what I thought was really cool is it was very easy to just say, oh, generic bad guy group, but they managed to find an interesting reason for them within the context of the MCU that makes it unique. Basically, they said like the world was better during the blip, which is just fantastic. I really, really like that, as much as it's a minor detail. It also gets interesting because he was asked, is Captain America on the moon? I don't think so. The Inhumans are on the moon. God damn it! Don't forget the Inhumans. Another thing, like, he had some great lines here that I just felt like this sounds like something Captain America would say. You know, he always gets these kind of speeches and those lines that are really cutting. So one thing he said is he has when it gets better for one group, it always gets worse for another. Again, he was talking about the Flag Smashers there, and when he's giving the speech about the shield, he says symbols are nothing without the ones who gave them meaning. Basically, I just thought that was very, very powerful. And also, hi Don Cheadle, how you doing? Good to see you here. We knew he was going to be in the show at some point. I didn't expect him here. I'm assuming he'll be in it a bit more over the course of the show. Maybe he did say he'll be in touch, and that's sort of where we leave Falcon for now. So yeah, interesting where his head is at. He's being a hero, but he doesn't feel worthy of being Captain America just yet. Then we have to ask ourselves, where do we pick up with the Winter Soldier? Who, you have to give it to him, folks, he's really sticking to wearing a mask. Good on him. Although this was a flashback, so maybe not. Yeah, if you weren't aware that this was a flashback, it made it pretty obvious. I mean, first of all, you could see the Soviet star on his arm. You were like, oh, flashback. And then if you weren't listening, it was like, Hail Hydra. And then, of course, it turned out to all be a dream. But this was really good as well. Even though this scene was literally, if you time it, it was about a minute long. It really did a great job of showing us, you know, what the Winter Soldier could offer as a character as far as his choreography again. And again, I don't think we necessarily got a lot of that kind of choreography in the Avengers movies of late. So it was cool to see them bring back that kind of Winter Soldier style, hardcore killing machine that is the Winter Soldier, which was a really excellent scene. And of course, he kills a character at the very end of that does tie in later in the episode. But then we pick up with him on a therapist's couch. The modern day Winter Soldier is being basically put through therapy as a condition of him being pardoned for his actions. So of course he's a flashback. He's having flashbacks. He's PTSD stricken, as you would be if you were basically made a brainwashed government assassin. And what's cool is we kind of see what he has been doing, and he has a list. It's kind of like My Name Is Earl, where he's crossing people off his list. So the 3 rules he has to make according to his therapist are: he can't do anything illegal, nobody gets hurt, and then he has to basically say, I'm making amends, and say who he is. He's not really following the first two, because what he did was probably illegal, although for the greater good. Number 2, he did hurt someone, but number 3, he did say, hey, I'm not the Winter Soldier, everybody, I'm Bucky Barnes. And then he disappeared, and that was it. So yeah, we got a flash on his list just to see who was on it, and we did see Zemo, which is very, very interesting, of course, going to be pivotal to this show. We also hear that he's ignoring texts from Sam, and that he's basically a loner. And this therapist is also part of the military, and she says basically, like, being alone with your thoughts is torturing you, and you need to get out of that. You need to do something. And thankfully, we're like, hey, he is getting out of it. You know, he is fraternizing with an old man. Maybe he just is, you know, being friends with someone who is around during the same time he was, because he's that old. And can I say, by the way, fuck the Falcon. The best wingman going is Yori. I mean, he got him a date like that. It was that easy. Good man, Yori. So yeah, from there, we kind of leave it off with the Falcon. We come back to the Falcon, I should say. Although I do want to point this out, because this is an interesting connection as well, right? We mentioned we had this character of Yori, who is kind of seemingly Falcon's friend, who he is spending time with. And we have a scene where they kind of get into a fight with a person. Rubbish. That doesn't really matter, but he breaks up the fight. That's very much like the first Captain America, where Bucky gets involved and saves Steve Rogers' ass. So interesting parallel there. So it's kind of like that person is still in there somewhere. Or else maybe this old Japanese man is going to be the new Captain America. Who knows? Oh, but we do have a new Captain America at the end of the episode. I don't think it's him, unless the mask is just that good, the makeup is that good. Who knows? But we do go back to the Falcon, and the Falcon is, well, forget about street fights. He's getting into some family fights, son. He's getting into some real family business. This was interesting. First of all, I found it like pretty amusing that like he goes back to his family, you know, his nephews, and maybe I think it was just nephews, and his sister, and of course they call him Uncle Sam. Well done, Uncle Sam, lovely. And yeah, basically what is happening here is that there's the fishing business. It was Wilson Seafood is what they had. They're struggling, and his sister reached out to him about that. He wants to turn the ship, or their boat, which is behind me in the video version, into a fishing vessel, and then a charter fishing vessel, you know, when business is slow, to make a bit of money and keep it alive, because this was their parents' business. It's been around a long time. Which, if you needed another reason to hate Tony Stark, apparently the Avengers don't get paid, like, at all. So, yeah, Falcon is broke as shit. So he tries to get a loan, and that's depressing a bit. And he can't get a loan, to make it even more depressing. So yeah, that's not great, isn't it? They don't get paid. He can't get a loan, because also he's had no income for 5 years because he got blipped. Jesus, this sounds like a pretty bad world to be an Avenger in. Although this is kind of funny, actually. I was thinking, like, before this, just when Sam Wilson was walking around, I was like, if this was the real world, he could not go a few feet without being stopped for a selfie or an autograph. And of course, when he went to get a loan, the guy straight away is like, "Can I get a selfie?" and started taking pictures of him and all this. And that did make me go like, you know, if you just made one personal appearance as the Falcon, money baby, you would be absolutely sorted. But regardless, that's kind of the family drama thing going on. So it is interesting, you know, to take these characters sort of back to their basics. Yeah, they just saved the world not that long ago, but they've got money issues. They've got, you know, mental health issues, and I think that's a great way of grounding these characters, and I think that's what sets them apart from some of the larger than life heroes in the MCU. So yeah, where we pick up from here, Falcon goes on his, or not Falcon, Winter Soldier. I had a 50-50 shot down, I blew it. Winter Soldier goes on his date, and you know, it goes okay. They play battleships and they get drunk, and he's 106, I think. So that's not bad. Good on you. Still getting out there at that age and playing battleships and getting drunk. Of course, then we get the sort of gut punch to the episode that basically the Winter Soldier isn't getting any better. He hasn't made friends. He's not doing something for much of a reason, except the fact that the reason he's friends with Yori is that he killed his son in the flashback, and basically he's making amends, so he is on his list, which is really sad. Poor Winter Soldier. You know, as hopefully he'll get better somewhat. That's kind of sad. That was a bit of a gut punch. Now, where we go from here, and I kind of, again, I watched this a bit later. I wasn't able to watch this as soon as it came out, and I kind of saw headlines all over the place, which was like, that shocking ending, and I was like, oh, I wonder what it is. And it kind of was shocking, I guess, if you didn't know anything about the show. But I want to talk about another moment where, again, if you know something about the show, it kind of is not that surprising. it's sort of weird because like with a show like WandaVision, it was so much like, are you following along? The fans know what that's going on. That's why they could just do a reveal as quick as it was Agatha all along, for example. Whereas with this, it kind of feels like they think the audience isn't as on board, possibly, or else they're just gonna they tease some reveals here. Like, okay, we had a scene in Switzerland with this character of Torres, which is the Flag Smashers were basically robbing a bank in Switzerland and kind of running a diversion. He infiltrated them and tries to stop one of the masked characters, which let's just have a picture of him. Let's talk about him. This is, of course, oh well, should I say of course? Is this a spoiler? Like, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's so obvious. Can I just say it? Can I just say it? It's like when we couldn't call Monica Rambeau that little while. Okay, this is obviously Zemo. And it's Daniel Bruhl. Not the leader of the Flag Smashers, apparently, because I have read there's a female character based on the actual character of the Flag Smasher from the comics, who was just one character as opposed to a group. He attacks Torres, and what's interesting is he does a kind of big superhero landing, knocks people all over the place. Seemingly he's become a superhero, very much against his agenda when we last saw him in Civil War. So yeah, there is over the end credits we do see superhero serum. Presumably that was for US Agent, which we'll get to in a minute, but possibly Zemo as well. Maybe he's become something like a Winter Soldier, which you fucking hypocrite. Which yeah, I want to talk like Zemo. I thought was a really good villain. I really liked him in Civil War. He's kind of hypocritical here, I guess, but you know, it's not that surprising. It was always going to go that way, I suppose. Although it does kind of weaken his character possibly a little bit, in my opinion. But I don't know. They haven't revealed it's going to be Zemo, but it is. It looks like Daniel Bruhl. It makes sense that it's Daniel Bruhl. It is him. It's Zemo, okay? Of course, we're probably going to see him with a purple hood at some point. Again, we don't really know how we got here. Because... Although I could... Oh, I have it. Oh my god, Tom's theories. Right. Here's my theory. Okay? This is so specific. That is definitely not true. Okay. I was going to say this. Last time we saw him in Civil War, he was apprehended by Black Panther and presumably sent to jail, which in the MCU, the big one for supervillains is the Raft. We saw that in Civil War as well. It's a big underwater prison that comes up and disappears and all that stuff. Right. What if he got blipped when the Raft was maybe slightly higher than it is, and then he got unblipped, and then because of that, he didn't get sent back to the Raft. He got sent into the water above the Raft and was able to swim his way to safety. That's elaborate. I'm just wondering, how is he out of prison? What's the story there? But of course, we're only one episode in. Plenty of time to reveal that mystery and what's been going on with Zemo, which is going to be pretty interesting, I'd say. Again, I think Zemo's a strong villain. I'm glad they're getting a chance to flesh him out and even make him a bit more comic book accurate. I never had a problem with that, but some people did. And I think here, it's kind of building up to that comic book character. So, speaking of comic book characters, there's a new Captain America, everyone. And boy, does he have a smug and punchable face when they showed him off. And he even gave a cheeky wink. That cheeky, chappy wink into the camera. He's already one of those perfect encapsulations of what it means to be Captain America. So, let's talk about this character. Who is this character? What is this character going to do? Etc, etc. Right. This character is John Walker. In the comics, he is known, as we said, as US Agent. So, of course, the story here is that basically the government were like, yeah, we want another Captain America, please. And they're like, hey, US Agent, you can be it. You can do it, John Walker. Of course, Sam was the person who had reservations about taking up the shield. I kind of wanted to be, but he wasn't worthy. Kind of wanted to sort of go off on his own to a certain degree. But of course, he was more feeling like he wasn't worthy of the shield. And at the end of the episode, he finds out someone else is going to carry the shield, and obviously we assume that's not going to sit right with him. Which, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I was going to say this, right? Of course, the characters of Falcon and Winter Soldier haven't even interacted yet in the series, which is great. I really like the pacing of this, first of all, because it's only 6 episodes. This episode was pretty much longer than most of the WandaVision episodes already. And I like that. I like the pacing. I'm okay with longer episodes if it's just 6 episodes. I think that works perfect. And they're taking their time. They're not rushing it, which is something I was afraid of. There is still that tension between those guys. They still haven't shared a scene together. I'm wondering if basically, you know, Falcon is going to help Winter Soldier get Zemo kind of off his list, make amends to some degree. That's going to help him make a friend, get therapy, and possibly Sam can make some money and keep his seafood business going. What a weird line that is for a superhero movie. Hopefully the Falcon can save his seafood business. Yeah, so US Agent in the comics, it's actually really comic book accurate. Basically, Captain America stops being Captain America, and the government is considering, like, who do we make a new Captain America? Nick Fury was considered, Falcon was considered, and basically they were like, I don't think that America is ready for a black Captain America. And they brought in John Walker to be the US Agent, who I will say we probably got the best look at him actually, well, at least probably his most superheroic pose. In the credits, which we see kind of promotional posters, John Walker, Cap is back. Again, looked quite a bit like some of the first stills we got of Chris Evans. I knew I said Steve Rogers. Chris Evans as Captain America. So that's pretty cool. Is that the reason why? Is it because, or are they going to say, hey, this is basically government property, Sam, you don't have a right to it? We don't know, but I think it is very interesting and obviously a very, very deliberate choice to have the character, a black Captain America, basically be replaced by a white Captain America. I'm sure that's something that's going to be brought up, and rightfully so. It should be very interesting. So, yeah, US Agent. The question then is he a good guy or a bad guy? He has been both. Generally speaking, I think he is more of a hero. He has been kind of a villain. I assume here he's going to be a villain. The reason I say that is because we kind of just already have too many, like, what is this character if he's a good guy? We kind of basically had already a better Captain America who's good, and we're going to presumably have another one in Falcon. So how many times do you need that character? So I think it presumably will be a villain. How far they'll go with that, who knows? The character has, you know, been pretty pivotal in general in the MCU. At one stage, he was a member of the Dark Avengers. I think he was the leader of the Dark Avengers, actually, among a lot of other things. So, yeah, that's John Walker. And that is the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Done and dusted. As I mentioned, this was not one that we were probably going to have to dig into as much, but I did think it was quite interesting. I thought it was a fantastic episode. I thought the pacing was really good. And I hope that they keep it up through the rest of the series. I was worried this was going to be big action punch-up, but they really did a fantastic job of giving us insight into these characters. Where do we go from here, is the question. Of course, they're going to have to team up and presumably try to stop Zemo. But again, what I like is they haven't immediately just been like, this is Zemo, this is the plan, let's go, Falcon, you know? So, yeah, that was it. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 1, done, dusted. New Captain America and John Walker. Where's that going to go? Who is the mysterious man under the mask? Could it be Zemo? It is weird, like, because they also like have in the end credits they have Sharon Carter, who we all know was in this obviously, but it just kind of is like, oh. But also then Daniel Bruhl wasn't credited in the end credits as Zemo. That's kind of weird. So anyway, that was first episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought below. Have you any theories? Where is this going to go? Of course, I think this is basically they're both going to get something out of it. Winter Soldier is going to be able to make his amends by stopping Zemo, like he basically shouldn't have helped him before, because he did. He's going to make amends for ever helping him to begin with, and hopefully make a friend along the way. Oh, friend! And Falcon's going to make some money and save his seafood business. It's less personal arc than Winter Soldier's. I'm hoping there's more to it than that. But anyway, that has been The Watcher. That was the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Please come back next week when we do the second episode, and let me know what you think of the episode in the comments below. And please like and subscribe, because remember, I'll be watching. Take care.